Welcome back into Clay and Buck. Speaker Newt Gingrich of Speaker Newt Gingrich fame. He is with us now. He's got a new documentary, Journey to America, with Newt and Callista Gingrich, which features inspiring immigrant stories. Mr. Speaker, appreciate you being with us. Before we get into the movie, I'm just wondering, what's your sense of where we stand historically now, about to begin the second Trump term and putting an end to Biden's 4 years? What do you see immediately ahead for the country?
Well, I think this is an enormous shift. Trump is a genuine populist. He wants to change the establishment, and I think that he's going to end up being an extraordinarily important president. And I think that we're going to see that a lot of things just didn't work. But now, I think with Trump's leadership, we're going to see the country turn around very fast. And I would suspect that we're going to have, in the not distant future, a very dynamic country with a lot of economic growth and with a lot of reforms.
Speaker Newt Gingrich with us now. We were just talking on the show. Let's pretend that you had to argue, and I'm sure you've argued in the past debate, sometimes things you don't agree with, but you're a good debater. 61% of Americans consider Biden's presidency a failure, according to a CNN poll that just came out. Can you point to anything in the last 4 years that Joe Biden has done that has made America better?
No, I mean, I'm pretty biased because I'm a conservative, but it just, I mean, maybe withdrawing from the race.
It's a great answer. The only thing you could think of that made America better was him not running.
Right.
You have dealt with getting things through the House and the Senate a ton. When you look at 2025, how much time does Trump have to really implement his policies, knowing that next year Democrats are going to try to delay and the House and the Senate races will be up again for midterms? How imperative is going fast now?
Well, I think that it depends a large part on how they approach it. If they do what Reagan did and what Lincoln and Margaret Thatcher did, and they start with the wishes of the American people, and I head up a project called the America's New Majority Project, where we look for the kind of issues where you can get 70 and 80, sometimes even 90% support. If they stick to that, they're going to be able to get things done all the way through because the American people will be on their side and the American people will force it to happen. Now, if on the other hand, they forget that and they start getting driven by Washington issues, then I think you're right, and he may have a relatively short time horizon to get things done.
How do you view the timing of the hostage deal and the formal cessation of the war between Israel and Hamas happening just days before Trump takes office, Mr. Speaker?
Well, I thought somebody had a very shrewd comment, a former ambassador to Tel Aviv, to Jerusalem rather, who said, with Trump coming in, every day the deal was going to get worse for Hamas. And therefore, if they didn't move now, they were just going to be in more and more and more trouble because ultimately Trump would side with Israel in wiping out Hamas. It's very different than the situation they were in when you had Joe Biden lecturing Israel over and over again about what they should or should not be doing.
Tell us about the documentary that you've got and what you've been working on and what you would encourage our audience to check out.
Well, Callista and I started in 2023 thinking that, we need to balance the immigration debate. We're both very strongly opposed to illegal immigration, but we are very strongly in favor of legal immigration. And so we began to think that, maybe we should adopt a position of how can we get across to the American people the amazing things that legal immigrants do. And so we developed a program called Journey to America. We went out and found 9 really interesting people and found that we were able to tell their stories. So the Journey to America is essentially 9 unique human beings who came to this country and who made it a dramatically better country. but they all came through the legal process under the Constitution. They all wanted to work, and they all wanted to become Americans. And that's very different than somebody who starts their career by breaking the law.
Do you have confidence that there's going to be major changes, Mr. Speaker, in the immigration enforcement and just overall immigration picture in the next Trump administration?
I think in the first 30 days, you'll be shocked at how effective they are. He's brought back one of the great veterans of border control. I think they're absolutely going to first seal off the border, second, start deporting criminals. And there are a lot of people who are here who are criminals. And I think that whether it's a Venezuelan gang or a El Salvadorian gang or a Mexican cartel, we have no reason to expose Americans to murder or rape or robbery from people who shouldn't even be here.
We've got the documentary that you've worked on up at clayandbuck.com. Where else can people watch, Mr. Speaker?
They can go to pbs.org or PBS app, and they can see it. It's streaming. It was on last night on the PBS network, and they now are available to be streamed. So anybody who wants to can go to pbs.org or the PBS app and be able to do it.
Last question for you, Mr. Speaker. We appreciate the time. Your wife has been appointed an ambassador. Do you anticipate what life will be like as the ambassador's husband? How much are you looking forward to that?
Well, she was the ambassador of the Vatican in the first Trump term. I went with her and did most of my work from Rome. The State Department calls me a trailing spouse, which is a good term because it reminds you that it's the ambassador who is the personal representative of the president. You're not. And I'm looking forward to being with her. And Switzerland is a great country. She has to be approved by the Senate, of course. But Switzerland's a great country, and it's a wonderful assignment for her.
Mr. Speaker, appreciate you being with us. Good luck on the documentary, and we'll get more and more people to go check it out.
Great. Thanks.
Look, we just heard from former Speaker Newt Gingrich. His new documentary, Journey to America, came out this week, and we've got it linked up at clayandbuck.com. If you're a history nerd or just love and value our founding documents, I think you'll really enjoy it. You know what you'll also really enjoy? The free online courses that Hillsdale College is offering on demand for everyone. There are dozens to choose from, but I'd recommend starting with Constitution 101, a primer that reminds you of the greatness of this document. Subsequent series explore the greatest books ever written, stories in the Bible, or how our free market economy really works. Hillsdale has produced each series with high-quality production. A bunch of our staff are even taking these courses. They're fun, engaging. You'll learn a lot. Start your own exploration of Hillsdale's learning and teaching by going to clayandbuck4hillsdale.com. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's clayandbuck4hillsdale.com to register. One more time, clayandbuck4hillsdale.com.